Actually, I have quite a flexible agenda today. My only would like to just to give everyone is we just build something to show how you can build with Ishi and so on. So but in order to start with this one, the prerequisites is you will need the latest AgenticFlow MCP connected, and also the second one is the AgenticFlow documentation, which I already shared in the previous video. And the third one is on the agent skill. So if you go in here and then you click on the install and so on, I would suggest that you can maybe uninstall and install the latest one, and then you can follow along on this part. We constantly updating the AgenticFlow skill in order to make it better, and we are constantly testing that to how Ishi can actually help and work on the current part. If you are haven't updated to the latest version with skill and MCP server, I strongly suggest that you are working on that. This is the version 0.1.2. If you are not yet into this one, I suggest that you are working on it. Okay. On the other side, what else that we have? Okay. So I hope that is okay. Let me check on the YouTube side if we have anything else. Okay. So I think that's clear. So let's start. So let's with Ishi. So firstly, you need to have Ishi to working on a folder. So if you haven't have Ishi working on the folder, please click open a folder and then select a folder that Ishi will going to work with. And in here, you will see the folder that I have, Sean, Whip, and Ishi Office Hour. So because Ishi is actually working on a specific folder, so later on, every file that we put in here, actually we can actually mention that file so that Ishi will understand what is it about and how does it work together. So yeah, if your connection is not as good, I suggest that you can go to YouTube. Okay. Right, so maybe let me start today. So firstly, let's come back to Ishi and how we can help on each other. So you need to know that Ishi will working on a folder. And for example, like this is my folder. Let me swap over to my folder real quick. So this is my folder on Ishi and this is empty. I have nothing in here. But what I can do is actually I can talk to Ishi and just ask him to create something with it. So for example, like, hey, can you help me to create .md file, describe the goal of today office hour. Build section. Oh wait, we have voice. Why don't we just use it? Let me grant a set. Hey, can you help to describe the target of today is to demonstrate how you can use Ishi with skill and also MCP server in AgenticFlow in order to handle some of the automation work with AgenticFlow. Okay, I hope the translation running. No, okay, it's good. So I will send the request. So Ishi is going to start to create some background file for the section goal and to demonstrate and so on. He's created a section goal already. So let me open on the my folder. So you can see that I can just create a file in this one, and actually I can click on that and open that. Okay, I have that one here. I'm not sure if you can see. No, when I spot it up, okay, yeah. So you can see here. So this is my folder. So this is the Ishi file that he create, including the skill and integration, MCP server, and automation on the workforce. What we will build is end-to-end workflow, demonstrate the Ishi trigger AgenticFlow automation, showcase the bridge between local and desktop operation and cloud-based. Okay, stack, Ishi, skill, and AgenticFlow MCP. So those are the three that you have. So that is how you can manipulate. So I would suggest that you can have maybe two streams or you put side by side. So your folder and also AgenticFlow. Wait. So I also have another screen, which is the website. So this is my AgenticFlow server, and where is it? Actually, this is just my workspace, normal. So because when we are building with Ishi, right, we would like to preview and what it's creating for us, and so we can use in this one and preview on that side. All right, so let's jump directly into it. So what I'm just want to build is something that's pretty simple. I would like to get leverage on the ability of Ishi to build some simple workflow. And because we have a lot of like action and step in here, so I would like to have the Ishi ability that maybe just create a workflow that search NVIDIA stock and then and analyzing the trend, and also help me to okay, let's just search the stock and also retrieve the information from the top 5 website and then summarizing me into the information. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I will tell Ishi is that I will click on this icon. Okay, I will open this one. I will click on voice input. I will tell to Ishi, hey, I need you to help me to build a workflow that simple. It take just do a web search. You can use that in AgenticFlow, and then after that, you will help me to retrieve the information from top 5 websites, and then finally synthesize the information from those websites and write for me a good report. Okay, using Ask AI node. Okay. I need help do a web search. Okay, Azure informed. See that on NVIDIA stock, right? Okay, we just send that over to Ishi and let him cook. Firstly, he is going to update his session code with the demonstration with a multi-step. Here's the to-do, and what he did is he did 3 things. He searched for 3 node information, and he update the web search node type, and he finds the web scraping and fetch, and he actually going to get node type to understand what is inside the node. And then he also listing my app connection. So what connection do I have? So he going to list my app connection. He do on the targetly search. We have this node, so I think he'd like to do that. Or maybe he can use Google search. Okay, quite a bit of like discovery. All right, and then he will start using the skill. So because we route for him some like how to build, so he actually going to read that how to build section. He update, and then he will start to create a workflow. He created workflow. He even like add decryption to input schema. Okay, he even like execute the workflow after complete. And he will fetch the workflow run to understand what is in. And he will check the parameter. He has 2 issues. So instead of like you trying to debug the workflow, now Ishi is going to debug it for you. So instead of like URL, I need to referencing that like search NVIDIA, search result 0 and link. Okay. And he will try to execute the workflow again. That's it, it's fixed. And let me run it again. Let's see what is another problem. So he finished the search. Still running. The scrapping is working now. Still work in progress. Okay. He finished the scrapping, but the LM node failed because it requires OpenAI connection. So he's going to search for a node that doesn't require connection. And he will update that workflow again. He will choose to using the PixelML LM because we have the PixelML 2 available. Let me update the workflow to use this instead. Because he have the context aware. So he know that in my workspace, what workflow, what information do I have? And he will try to fix that. So actually, technically, what I'm doing now is, I will just talk to you guys, right? Ishi is doing by himself. And he has the context aware. So which means like, he know what is inside of my workspace, what connection do I have, and what are the availability of the platform, which is AgenticFlow. And then technically, we just give him the tool set and also the target. And then let me find out if Ishi is done. So, and also you can see in here, he will trying to still to running, and he find that this model is not working in the connection, and he will try another model. He will get the workflow run because every time that he executing something, he actually going to catch the status from AgenticFlow engine, because we have a core engine that executing the job, right? And normally that this job is need to you to do it, but for now actually like Ishi is going to do it, and he fetching information. And what we are creating is kind of like create a loop that AI can actually doing the work for us. He even like finishing the workflow and also generating a report. Let me see what he has. Okay, the more results. So workflow create is NVIDIA stock research report, 7 node. Okay, Google search and doing file scrapping and synthesize to comprehensive report. So what is working is Google search node return 5 relevant NVIDIA link, web scrapping successfully fetch the content from multiple sites, dynamic data passing between node. Okay. So some he even like documenting what he's finding into our documentation. So we can watch that later. But anyway, let me go back into the actual workflow and we will test that. Okay, let me go switch into our website. Okay, this is our workflow. So let me go here and I'm going to click to my workflow, and I should see that NVIDIA stock report. I don't know why is she creating 2, but maybe there's something wrong with the prompts, but I should just click on this one. Okay, so I have my workflow already with one shot. I just like talk to him like what I need, and then he creates for me the entire workflow. And this is taking from the user input. It have it like, okay, the search query, NVIDIA stock price news analysis. Okay. And then it's starting to using the search query, top K, and it starts to do some of the information in here. strap website 1 and 2. And you can see, so between these 5 scrapping, he changed something. So instead of, so this is 0. So in IT technology, 0 is means starting the item number 1. So instead of like ensuring the website URL is always 0, actually he increasing that. So the first job is scrap the first one, the second job is scrap the second one, and so on and so on. So this is all of these one is separately. Okay. Finally, he's going to do the synthesize the report, and he will make the based on the report from all of this one, and then synthesize that, writing executive summary and so on. Okay. He choose this model and to pick. Okay. Maybe I would like to go in here and we'll check on his history. Okay. He ran it, but failed for some reason. Okay. Let me click on this one. So search NVIDIA stock is, but this model is wrong. What I'm going to do is I just copy this one to him. I will copy this one to him. Let me say, oh, maybe even I don't need to copy this one. The beautiful of this one is because Ishi is context aware, so he know about this one. So what I'm going to do is I just copy on this one. I will copy, and I will come back to my Ishi. I will tell him, just say, hey, the workflow is nice, but the last step is just wrong. Can you change the model into something that usable? I would suggest that you can use maybe Flash 2.0 and see how this goes. Sorry for my English. But anyway, so I will just paste that to him and we'll see how this goes. So this is the process that I was suggesting that you do as well, because maybe the first time is not working, but the second time is working. And what you just need to do is copy the URL of AgenticFlow, you paste that to him, and he will update the workflow, and he will trigger that again and test it again. And actually just reiterative this loop until that you can get something that runnable, follow your step. So, okay, so as you can see in here, Ishi is actually finished update the workflow based on our suggestion and feedback. And then he will actually execute the workflow to ensure it's working or not. There's an error. Let me see why. Let me click on this so step. So what he did is, okay, the interesting here about this one is, so he create this one. So this is also our new feature that we just add recently as well. It will allow you to kind of like understand what's going on and what has been sent. So actually, this is search, synchronize the information and input and so on. There's a lot of information have been fetched because actually Ishi is actually having a timeout. So it's going to execute, because when we are doing the execution, it means the workflow itself is going to be triggered and the engine is running. And if that workflow is taking a long time to retrigger, so Ishi will just stop to persist the token. So in order to double check on this one, I will go back into AgenticFlow and see what is the current problem on this one. Wait, let me go back to that. Okay, this is a workflow. And last time what we did is in here, actually the workflow, the model that he chooses is kind of Claude. And let me click on history first and see what is the last step that he run. Okay, let me click on this one. So all the step is running, but this model is not found for some reason. Why is that? Maybe I would do this where I need to step in and I will see what is the, okay, the connection is here. Let me click on this one and select an option. Maybe I would just choosing this model and I click save. And I will just click run again. So the search is really fast. First website is also okay. 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 I have connection ID. It must be a valid UID. What is that? Am I even like having the correct connection? I think my connection is having a problem. Let me test this first. Okay. Let me do a very simple. For example, I'm going to test my PixelML connection. I suspect that the connection that I have is very old one and it does not have the effect, but I will just try by just ask AI. This is going to be the connection and I'm going to just say hi and I'm going to do the model selection. Let's choose this one. I click save. I click run step. Okay. So this is obviously a problem. So I was using a connection key that maybe have been deleted before. So what I need to do is I go back to my connection in here and I go into my PixelML connection and I need to remove this one and actually replace that with a working one. I will just delete this one and I will go into platform@pixelml.com. So I'm going to go into my key here and actually I need to create a new key in order to copy and paste into that one. And I will just put in here, we just put Ishi new key. Now I have a new key that added into PixelML. With this one, I'm going to test again to my workflow. I'm going to test my PixelML connection. I know, just click here and we'll try this one again. And I'll select this new key that I just create. I save and run that. app connection ID should be valid. Why is it having problem? Or maybe this node having problem. Just generate. Maybe just try this one. Delete. Just set connection and just say generate the cat. No, not set forward. Aspect ratio. Save again. So this one is working. So this means there's an error with the SLM node that I was just using. I think that is something broken. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to Ishi. I will say, and come back to Ishi. I will just tell him. I think the SLM by PixelML is having some problem. Can you just using the normal LM node, just ask AI and using the built-in node of AgenticFlow with no connection, please. Just using that as a I'm going to tell him like this. Just ask AI. I think we need to have a better model for the transcription. What happened? What I'm going to do is I will copy this one and I'm going here. Let's start a new chat. Let's say use your AgenticFlow skill and then replacing the last node model with the normal LM node without PixelML, please. So he have the workflow. So let me copy this URL, copy link, go back to my workflow. Voila, I think there's something wrong with that. Let me double check on this. No, not this one. So be this one. I think he broke something. I will copy this one again. I come back to Ishi. I will stop in the middle. I will say, no, please just use the AM node only. Okay. Can you trigger the workflow you just create? Because I was using a connection that I will remove before. So that means that workflow needs to update the workflow again. And right now, it added back on the workflow. The connection has been fixed. So it's showing me that the progress is here. So let me open my AgenticFlow and see. Let's go back first. Go here again. It's still something went wrong. Really? I think there's some problem with the... Let me come back to Ishi. You broke something again. Can you review with the skill to ensure you create a valid JSON? Okay, I think he see the problem now. And he is trying to fix that problem. He fixed the connection format, syntax, and also he added a type object into the input schema. So let me come back into AgenticFlow and see if this time is getting better. Let me refresh this one. All right, I think he fixed that. So technically, this is also your tips as well. So sometimes AI is hallucinating. So he actually trying to build something that not exist. And actually our website and UI going to reject that. So what you need to do is just like ask him to review the AgenticFlow skill again and then find out. So he bring back this one. I'm not sure it's working or not, but I'm going to review first. Let me go have here. This one is good. So he is not using the AI Advanced. He's just using the normal. He's using this model. So I will just, why not? Just click on this one and see how this goes. Let's go back to Discord. While waiting for Ishi to run, I'm going to answer some question. It's good to choose different model when you are failed. Yeah. So in case that Ishi having some problem, maybe you can just try a smarter model to allow him to solve the problem. Okay. Does the value I have similar challenge yesterday not available in what I got, but I gave a list of 14 model AgenticFlow. It took time and used DeepSeek. We tweak get result. I able to select the model, but probably some challenge. Yeah, correct. Yeah. So the beauty of this one is building automation is hard for people. And if there's something problem, you have to figure it out by yourself. But Ishi and with this one, we actually provide enough information for the AI to auto-correct himself. And you can see like he was went from like creating totally broken one into a working one. But I think right now we have some error. So let's continue and see what is he doing with this. Okay. Now let me go back into the website. Okay. Node fail, execute synthesize report. For some reason, PixelML connection is required for PixelML model. But why him asking for this one? But he is choosing, so this is one of the problem as well. So he is using AgenticFlow node. So it means this one is actually a logo of AgenticFlow. So he should only using the AgenticFlow model. But for some reason, I think he's still referring into that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this one back to him. I just copy it back to him. And I will just tell him like, wait, I think I need copy the correct link, which is the execution this cell. So I need to click on this fail attempt. I will copy this one and I'm come back to my Ishi. I will tell him, hey, I think you're still using an LLM under PixelML for the new LLM node. Please remember that each of the LLM node will have their different model lists. You need to fetch the option again to ensure that you are using the correct one. Okay. Please fetch this workflow run execution to find what happened and how you fix that. So yeah, I just voiced there's something wrong in this one, but I think he will understand me well. I don't know. So I tell him to fetch that problem, and then, okay, he will get the workflow run to know what is the problem. And then he was just doing, okay, so this is interesting, get dynamic option. So actually I tell him that each of the node is actually having the model list. So the LM node is going to have around 14 model. Okay. Okay. So he found the problem. Right? The problem is I use PixelML model, but the LM node has its own set of model that don't require connection. So he will, choosing this one. So he will choose another model, for example, like Google Gemini 2.0 Lite. Okay. So he will update the workflow with that new model and see how this goes. The workflow, okay. Okay, he triggered this one and it is successfully done. So let me switch to AgenticFlow and see how is the guy is doing on this part. Let me come back to my history. It has been created. Let me click on details. Okay, it's run. The first few nodes, including like search, NVIDIA stock, fetching certain website, and so on, is okay. The model is not far. I think we need to put him some help on this one. I can still prompt him to do some certain thing, but normally I would just do is I click on this one. I just choose a model that is working. I know that's working. For example, I just put this one and I click save. And what I'm going to do is I just click run again. Actually, that is also the way that we are working with AI, right? We know something that Ishi doesn't. And sometimes it's just easier for me to just come and also just fix myself using the UI on AgenticFlow rather than just prompting and over again. But Ishi is good because he can help me to synthesize and creating the first version of the AI. So normally later, I think the process that you are going to work with AI is that you brief him something and also you work with him until you get to certain area, and then you do the final trick. In case that the AI is getting some loop and he cannot get him outside of that one, then actually this is something that you can step in. So we as a human is still needed. So let's wait for this one to done. So I think this should be okay because we all the steps that we done until now, including like search, scrapping, find this one website is okay. So I anticipate that the final step is also okay. Let me go into history. Let me refresh this one. It's still running. It is a success. So let me copy it on this one. So it's basically what it does is that it searches the query on Google, find websites, swap all of them, and finally synthesize this information to me. Okay, so this is like NVIDIA stock research report. What is the current stock performance based on so 4 and 5? This is the recent stock performance. Okay, good. And this is also, yeah, some information. That's basic. Search on the real time in the internet. So what more interesting for now is that because this is our first attempt iteration. So I will show you why Ishi should be on local, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach him. So I just have my run here and I just pay here. I will tell him, hey, you are messing up and you use a model that is not exist. I fixed it myself. And this is the workflow run that is working. Can you look into that and can you learn from what we have done so far from the beginning until now? And also you can write into the markdown file that in this folder and do what you learn, so that next time you can read that and you can ensure that there's no mistake again happen on this one. Okay. So as you can see now, I'm telling to Ishi is like my intern. So I show him what to do and how to fix the problem. And then what he's going to do is he's going to fetching this my folder. He will write something down. He's still writing it. So he's writing his knowledge. Okay. So what he learned. Okay. So this is the AgenticFlow lesson learned. Okay. Different model has different type. Let me switch to my folder and see if he really creates something that meaningful. So this is my folder. And originally this is like our build section. And this is the workflow lesson learned. Okay, this is the document that Ishi just writing down. He learned something. Okay, the first connection problem, connection format should be something like this, not a raw UUID. Critical lesson learned. Okay, debug checklist. Okay, okay. So he learned something. So why Ishi should be on your computer is that right now. Let me start with a new thread. Okay, completely new chat with him. I'm open here. I will create a new chat, and what I'm going to tell him is to do the same job. But instead of like starting from 0, I'm going to click on this one. I will click mention. Oh, okay. Wait, I think there is something wrong with this one. We should have a mention. But anyway, if we don't have the mention file, then you just need to drag the file into Ishi. Okay. So what I did is I just drag the file from my folder to Ishi, and I will just tell him, hey, can you read this? So he can read that information. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tell him to create another one. Can you help me to create another report for another company that doing maybe Google? But for this route, let's try to use the built-in web search and also web retrieval and the LLM node without any like LLM connection from PixelML required. Just try to use the web search and web retrieval that existing in AgenticFlow. Okay. Okay. Built-in web search and LLM node. Okay. So what basically I'm telling him that in AgenticFlow, we have built-in web search and also web retrieval node already. So there is no external connection required. So what I'm going to tell him is do it. So with the understanding and the learning from the past fail, I believe that he's going to build this a bit better than before. And let's see. So he found that there's a web search and web retrieval. So you should kind of like understanding about like how things, what AgenticFlow capable of, because we have a tool set of almost everything you need already. And what you just need to know is to tell Ishi that that option exists, and he will find a way to do it, just like now. So if I tell him that there is a web search and web retrieval built in AgenticFlow that can do this one without external connection, use that, and he will use that. And for the question from Marcel, so every thread of new chat of Ishi is completely new, so he doesn't know thing. But what you can do is you can replicate what I just did. When he finished a thread, ask him to write down his experience, lesson learned, so that later when you're starting something new, you just mention that file so that he have the equip of the knowledge that he accumulated from the past fail. So I think that is the way that human learn, and also the reason why Ishi have to be on your laptop, because that is where your file system is. You can actually tell him to write documentation, or maybe you can even like drag some of the SOP that you already using in your team so that he can actually learn from that. So you mean this is kind of continuous improvement. So if you can help Ishi improve 1% every day, then actually over time he will be becoming seriously good. And if you notice that I create a Ishi workspace on my computer, and that folder is everything that I organized for him, you can actually apply how you managing the knowledge and the past experience into that as well. Because later, what you can do is that you can just mention in your file or a folder, you just drag the entire folder in and you tell Ishi, hey, read this file and do this, instead of like trying to prompt. Because I think the problem right now with ChatGPT is every time I need it to do something, I spend so much time to steering its behavior, and I even like having a prompt in my note later so that I can copy and paste that. But with Ishi, you don't need, because everything in your computer, and then as long as you can open that folder and you say, hey, read everything in this folder, do the task following the SOP, following the format of the template that I already defined to you, is much more efficient. I think he finished, or I don't know if it's working or not. The workflow is still running. First two success, but I think this is okay. So both is success, and right now just waiting for the error. But anyway, I think he's going to get it, because that is something that obvious, right? Workflow created successfully. Okay. The pending for a while. Okay. I'll write it. This to your lesson, please. Yeah, I will tell him to write to his knowledge and documenting the knowledge so we can create a self-improving AI. Okay. And what I'm going to do, I come back to this AgenticFlow and see whether he's creating a new one is a good one. Go back here. Let me go into workflow, Google search report. Okay. Let me click on this one. It has been created. It takes some time. I don't know. But let me click on this one and I will verify his work. He choose this one. And the model is UM 4.5 so this one should work. Why is that? Okay, let me buy the other way. Let me click on this one. Let me choose the model again. Let me choose another model. Let me choose maybe choose GPT-4o mini and click save. And then go here and products. Let's trigger run again. Search information quite fast. Retrieve also very fast. Generate company report. Not as fast. Why? Go back history. Oh, it's a set. It's actually a set and very working. Maybe just because the report is very long, so it takes some time. But anyway, so after you can see that the first time that we build this one, Ishi take 20 minutes just to try to figure it out and get familiar with the system. But the second time that we do this one is one shot. So what I mean by one shot, let me review on the Ishi again, on his thinking process. Okay. So the first one is like we take 20 minutes, right? Just to try to figure out thing and teach him what to do. But the second time is much faster. I just dragging the file from my folder, external folder to Ishi, and just say, hey, read, please. And he know that there's a critical issue. And second one, I'm going to ask him like, just do the report again, but I make some change, right? I don't want him to use exactly the same thing. I want him to using only the AgenticFlow native node, which is no external cost. And then he creates successfully. And what he did is, yeah, you can click on this one. He took 3 minutes to thinking the process because he did a lot of things. So let me recap what he did. Okay. So he will get the workflow detail. So it means he will search the information to know what this node does. He will search for external option. He found that, okay, there's a web search and web retrieval node, which is the built-in action that we already have. Maybe you know or you not know. That's okay. But Ishi will find a way to search for that. And then both of this one have connection none. Okay. No connection required. That's good. Build with the no connection required because that's built in your credit. So it means you can use for everything. And then it's also fetch the dynamic option because like in AgenticFlow, what we are doing is everything is dynamic. So for example, as AI, if we support like 14 models today and we add one more model tomorrow, then every time the AI will know the latest one, he will fetch that. So he will have some information. He will do the web search, LM, workflow create, and then I will execute the workflow. So the beauty of this one is we allow Ishi to trigger a workflow. So after trigger the workflow, it can actually doing these kinds of verification. And if there's some error, he will know that, okay, I hit a snag and then fail some interesting error. So include Google search option, conflict with internal URL context via blah, 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 blah. Okay. There's some error. Okay. And then he will get web search node and he update the workflow to fix that. He execute the workflow, get the workflow run. And all of this one is actually, he's just pulling to check to very fast again, but for some reason our engine is replaced a bit slow. But anyway, he would decide that he stopped because he think that the workflow he's working is good already, and what you just need to do is just waiting for it to run. So that is how you build with an AI agent to build a workflow, and we can take it from here. I would just say, oh, hey, the workflow is good already. So can you using your skill and maybe turning this one into an agent that doing this one? You can attaching this workflow into the agent as its capability as well. Yeah, try to do it. Okay. So what I planning to ask him to do it, I asked him to create a workflow already and it worked, but I would like to turn that into an agent. And what I'm going to tell him is just, I would just tell him what to do and I will just send. So I expect that he will understand me. He will read the skill that I already empower. So good. So he read the skill that we have for him and he read the overview. So what else he did? He going to read the tool. So he know about the agent and tool. He listen agent. Good. So he actually gets some agent detail. So this is completely next step, right? So we build a workflow and now we build an agent. So he will try to educate himself and he will start to create an agent. It will take some time to continue to run. So he does create a workflow, okay, the agent. So he was saying that, okay, the agent has been created and he knows that there's a workflow to attach. But because right now we don't have the instruction for him to do the workflow yet. So he will instruct us that please go into AgenticFlow and click on agent and in the workflow tab, add a workflow tool and also company research to report other tool. And this is the tool description and so on. So what I'm going to do is I will follow his instruction. So I'm going to go to AgenticFlow again. Let me switch that over to that one. And this one is, I'm going to my agent. And I see that this is an agent that do company research analysis. And in here, you will see that there's a title and description. And he will also going to give some system prompt in here. You can click on this one to read the full screen about the name, capability, and when to use research workflow. And I'm going to follow him each turn. So go into workflow, click add, and this is the workflow that we just create. And click add here, and then just add in here, and save, and that's it. I think that's pretty much it, right? Hey, can you help me research about NVIDIA? So he will trigger the workflow that we just create. Wow, that's quite fast. He really trigger the workflow. Not really. So we have the report. So that is how easy is it. When you are creating the workflow already, and then you would like to ask him to create an agent, then just follow his instruction, and that's it. So you just create a market research agent that can handle the comprehensive report following your process. So because different company will have different way of research. So some company you will do the research on certain government website or different source. So you can actually create a very custom workflow to research that information, and then you can just equip that to an agent, and how Ishi can help you to handle this part. All right, I think that's it. So today we already covered two things. So how you use Ishi with MCP and skill in order to create workflow and agent. And what interesting from this one is that I just demonstrate to you that there's an ability of Ishi to learn from past mistake. So what I'm going to do is I'm just pay here this agent work. Okay, documenting everything you learned today into your lesson, and also update the document about our build section today, what we cover. Yep. So every section that you are working together with Ishi, please have to review and also documenting down. Ask him to documenting the process, what he learned, and next time you load up that information so that he can be much more efficient in order to do what you want. And you can even like having some other thing as well. For example, you can download a JSON file from AgenticFlow or NAN and drop into the same folder and ask him to read that JSON file as a reference. So documenting information and provide more information to him is the way that you can view an agent that really doing the work for you. Yep. So as you can see in here, so Ishi actually documenting his learning today. He also update the section about what he learned about agent capability. Okay, build section 2. Okay, we build 2 node, what we covered today. So he write something up. So he write a file in here, very long documentation about what he learned. Yeah, even like he cover the demo result. Like so this is the workflow that we create: stock research, structure, execution result, key learning, text and name, and so on. AgenticFlow is linear sequencer, no loop. Yep, I think he's getting things is correct. All right, it's also reaching to the end of the session today. So I think if you have any question, you can feel free to ask me now, or we can actually sum it up in our next office hour on Tuesday next week. Yeah. Oh, actually, wait, AgenticFlow does not have the documentation. Ishi, can it answer? So right now we don't have the wait. Your question is AgenticFlow say it does not have experience on Ishi. Can it add? So I can ask about Ishi feature. It can lower documentation. So there's two things that I suggest you to do. One is to use different provider. For example, like Google. Please log in with Google anti-gravity. They allow you to actually creating a lot of token with frontier model like Opus 4.5, and it's free. And you use this one with your normal Google account, and you have a good quota to do for a week. And if one account is finished the quota, please switch to a new account. And that is how you can keep using Opus 4.5 or Gemini 3 to build your agent and workflow free. And that's it. Google is subsidizing that. And I definitely recommend you to do that. That's number one. And second one is, where is Ishi documentation? Let me show you the documentation of Ishi. So you go into Ishi, and we have our documentation here. So this is the documentation of Ishi, that all of the information that you have, and you can actually ask Ishi to do search for his capability in here as well. Or in case that you would like to give some context to Ishi, you can feel free to give him. Okay, the AgenticFlow chatbot is built into our account. So technically, we will not have AgenticFlow chatbot to learn about Ishi, because actually those are two different products. And because Ishi can research about his capability, so you just need to ask him to search information in this documentation, and he will do the search directly by himself. So you don't need that, because Ishi a copilot, so he can do all of this one already. So in case that you would like to give some context from Ishi, then you can go into documentation, and then you can browsing some of the nodes that we have. For example, like you go here and you search for node library. So in this one, actually we are presenting and we write documentation about all of the nodes that we have, what they do, file call, run fun model, and Google search Ask Gemini. So in case that Ishi gets things stuck, you can just copy this information, you send that to Ishi. Or the way that you can also tracking from this one is when you are creating a new workflow like this, you click on this one and then you find that, for example, like click on build-in. So this is the one that will build-in. So you can actually having some, for example, like this web scraping, then you can click on this docs and it will open the web scraping information, and you can just copy this one and you give that to Ishi directly. So it will save some of the token where Ishi trying to figure it out. So if you have time and you have the knowledge about the platform, you just need to know that these are the information that exists. Then you can direct Ishi better so that he can actually navigating, understanding, and then starting to constructing the workflow and agent for you in a more effective manner. Yep. So I hope that is answered to your question. Okay. How to change the login to anti-gravity, which show at you can just replace. So every time that you are logging, if you have the ChatGPT Plus or anti-gravity or everything, you can use all of their model. Okay. That is the beautiful of Ishi. So if you going back to Ishi, and every time you click on, for example, this button, you can choose Anthropic if you have Claude Pro or Max. You can choose OpenAI if you have ChatGPT Plus. Click on this one. If you have Google, you can click on this one. Or even like if you have GitHub, you can also using this one. So if you are logged in, then it will be able to using your subscription and the model to build on Ishi. Just like we are just using them as a brand for Ishi. And also that's the reason why Ishi has to be on your desktop, because that is the only way that we can help you to utilize your current subscription on another platform in order to build your workforce without even like consuming AgenticFlow credit. And you can using frontier model like Opus 4.5 if you already pay for that. Yeah. Okay. All right, good. So I think that's it for today. I think it's also quite late as well. Thanks everyone for arriving, and I hope that is something that you can take away from this. And yeah, so I will see you on Tuesday. Bye bye. Have a good day.